Silas. "Hello, great uncle." When he faced me, he suddenly broke into a kind smile, but the calculation in his eyes was practically overflowing. "Ah, good boy, what are you standing there for? Come sit next to your great uncle." Unfortunately, in my current role, I didn't dare to meet his gaze and simply kept my head down obediently. Only Julian could see my face clearly, and his own expression gradually turned cold. "Are you deaf? Didn't you hear great uncle talking to you? Standing there like a statue. Get out of the way." Silas scolded him disapprovingly. "Julian, don't talk to your brother like that." After being snapped at, I quickly moved to sit in the empty spot on the sofa next to Silas as he had suggested. But the next second, I heard Julian speak again. "Stop, there's a proper order to things. Great uncle was just being polite telling you to sit there, and you actually dare to? Get over here next to me, now." His bossy demeanor was too much for Silas to bear. "All right, there's no need for such formalities in front of me. Ethan, is it? Sit wherever you like." In the end, I still sat down next to Julian. Silas said, "I brought you a special gift today to celebrate your homecoming. We're all family now. We should visit each other more often." As Silas finished speaking, the person behind him presented a box to me. I took it carefully. "Thank you, great uncle." Julian stared at the box, a slight curve on his lips. "Such a big box, it must be very valuable. Aren't you going to open it and see, Ethan?" I had just made a move to open it when Silas spoke up. "Ah, wait, why don't you take it to your room and open it later? Keep the surprise." Julian's eyes flickered, and he immediately instructed Mrs. Gable, "Quickly, help the young master take his gift upstairs." Mrs. Gable moved swiftly. "Yes, Mr. Julian." The three of them made some more small talk before Silas smiled and said, "Well, I've seen him and delivered the gift. That's all for today. I have other matters to attend to." He slowly stood up and walked towards the door, but his steps suddenly halted. He turned back, a smile still on his face. "Young Ethan, aren't you going to see your great uncle out?" Just as I was about to move, Julian stepped forward to Silas's side. "Great uncle, he doesn't know the customs. Let me do it," Silas said. "It's just that I suddenly remembered I have something else in my trunk, something perfect for him. I wanted him to come with me to get it." Julian also smiled. "It's the same if I go get it for him. What, are you afraid I'll steal his gift, great uncle?" Silas had no choice but to say, "If that's the case, then let's go." Julian escorted Silas out, and my curiosity got the better of me, so I followed them from a distance. Halfway there, I suddenly sensed something was off, a faint sound from behind me, but I continued walking without showing any reaction. After all, in this house, I was just a naive young master who knew nothing of the world. The sense of lethal danger grew stronger, making even me tense up. I could clearly feel a sharp object hurtling towards the back of my head. In the nick of time, a wooden plank flew in from my right, grazing my back and deflecting the hidden weapon. I turned at the sound and saw a massive wolf-dog hybrid rush past me from behind, heading in the same direction where a dark figure seemed to have just darted away. Before I could process it, Mr. White was suddenly standing in front of me with an apologetic expression. "My apologies, young master. I was just training Caesar and didn't realize you were here. I almost hurt you by accident. Please forgive me." I was taken aback for a moment. "Caesar, is that wolf dog?" The name felt surprisingly ordinary for such a beast. Mr. White replied calmly, "It's impressive that you weren't afraid of Caesar at all, young master. Any other young master in New York would have been scared to death." Just then, I heard another jarring sound, the piercing scream of a man. I asked curiously, "Mr. White, what's that noise over there?" I craned my neck to get a better look in that direction. Mr. White subtly blocked my view, his face impassive. "It's probably the staff training with Caesar. Can I go watch?" Mr. White said, "Perhaps another time. Mr. Julian should have the gift by now and will be looking for you." I showed a surprised expression. Mr. White hadn't been there, yet he knew the situation so clearly. Mr. White's expression stiffened for a second before returning to normal. "I heard it from Mrs. Gable." "All right, are you coming with me then, Mr. White?" Mr. White shook his head. "No, young master, I still have to continue training Caesar." I nodded and turned to walk on. Mr. White watched my retreating back and let out a quiet sigh of relief, then his eyes turned fierce as he walked in the opposite direction. I hadn't gone far before I ran into Julian, who was returning empty-handed. I feigned shock. "Julian, where's the gift great uncle said he had for me? You didn't actually keep it for yourself, did you?" He couldn't help but roll his eyes. "With my status, is there anything I can't have? You think I'd covet something of yours?" I held out my hand. "So where's my gift?" The old coot said he misremembered, that it wasn't in the trunk after all. "Made me go for nothing." He was probably just trying to lure me over. That old bastard has a twisted mind. Who knows what he'll pull next? I wasn't annoyed by his sharp tone. That's a real shame, Julian said impatiently. All right, if there's nothing else, go back to your room. Don't wander around outside. Now that the pest was gone, he could get back to his own business. I asked, confused, isn't this our home? Why do you call it outside? Can't I even take a walk? Julian said something cryptic. Not for now. There are still many places in the house that haven't been cleaned out, full of pests and vermin. Mom and Dad didn't care before, but now that you're back, certain things can't be allowed to remain. I nodded as if I half understood. All right then. So I obediently returned to my room, where Mrs. Gable was still waiting by my door. Mrs. Gable, have you been here this whole time? She nodded. Yes, I was waiting for you to return, young master. If she hadn't even gone downstairs, then how did Mr. White, who had been outside the whole time, hear the news? I waved her away. What were you waiting for me for? It's fine. Since the gift is put away, you can go about your own business. I walked into the room and picked up the box from the table, examining it closely. There were signs it had been opened. Inside was a very expensive watch with nothing else out of the ordinary. Perhaps Mrs. Gable had already inspected it. The people in the Astor family were certainly cautious. I put the watch on and admired it for a moment. Who doesn't like valuable things? On his way back, Silas's face was grim, especially after he returned to his villa and his trusted subordinates all knelt before him. None of the 3 plans today had succeeded, and he had lost a few men, giving the main family leverage against him. Silas sat at his desk, and after a long silence he murmured, "We've tipped them off. It will be much harder to make a move on Ethan now." His subordinates remained kneeling, their legs numb, but no one dared to speak. Silas continued, "That brat Julian really continues to impress me, thwarting my plans time and time again. In truth, more than me, Silas wanted to get rid of Julian. When Julian was first brought to the Astor home, he was a naive little kid, easy to control. Silas spent 3 years earning his trust, and the following decade went smoothly. Just when he was about to turn Julian into his puppet and make a move against the family, he was taught a harsh lesson. After years of scheming, he had misjudged someone for the first time. The boy was a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he had been played for a fool. Now, with me, he couldn't afford to make the same mistake." Silas gestured to the men on the floor. "Each of you give me an idea. What should we do next?" Someone timidly asked, "Do we target only Mr. Ethan, or Mr. Julian as well?" Silas replied, "One of the 2 heirs has to fall. Judging by their current relationship, it won't be hard to drive a wedge between them, especially since Ethan isn't as clever as Julian." At dinner, my parents and sisters, who had just returned from work, learned from Julian about the day's events, and their expressions all darkened. The atmosphere at the table became exceptionally tense. "It seems that from now on, we'll have to leave someone with him at all times," my father said. "Today it was that old scoundrel, but who knows what other monsters will try to get close to Ethan in the future. We can't be with him every second." Julian's expression was the most composed. "Just bring some of our people back for close protection. This can't go on forever. He needs to get used to our way of life." The family discussed the matter back and forth. I had taken a nap, so I came down a bit late. I greeted each of them and took my seat. "Mom, Dad, sisters, Julian. Sorry I'm late. What are you all talking about?" My mother asked. "Nothing much. Are you getting used to living here?" I deliberately glanced at Julian. "It's great. Julian has been very good to me." Julian just snorted and turned his head, not bothering to look at me. My mother nodded. "That's good. You and Julian are the same age, so it should be easier for you to talk about things. We'll have him guide you in various matters." Julian cut her off, complaining, "Mom, you know how busy I am, and you're giving me more tasks." My mother frowned. "This is what you should be doing. What's wrong with taking care of your older brother?" Vivian chimed in, "Exactly. Making such a fuss over a small thing. Are you even an Astor?" Julian shot back, "What's it to you? You're an Astor too. Why don't you look after him every day?" Vivian threw up her hands. "I'd be happy to, but I'm in the entertainment industry, that cesspool. Ask Mom and Dad if they're willing to let Ethan be exposed to the cameras. Besides, I'm barely home once a month. It's not convenient." Isabel pushed up her glasses. "I spend all my time between the hospital and the research institute. He wouldn't be able to handle it." Serafina added, "Ethan could follow me if he wants, but the workload would be immense and very tiring." The head of the family, my father, made the final decision. "Exactly. It's best for Ethan to be with you, Julian. When you have time, gradually introduce him to your circle. Don't let him get bullied. Protect your brother, understand?" Julian reluctantly mumbled, Oh, the family began to eat. Halfway through the meal, my mother tentatively asked me, "By the way, Ethan, did you ever go to school when you were abroad?" I nodded,